How's everyone? Let me double check. Is my microphone on? Can you guys hear me okay? Please let me know if the level of the audio okay. Thank you so much for subscribing. That's so sweet of you. Hopefully we'll get more things rolling soon. Fingers crossed. It's just now the holidays are coming up, so it's getting a little bit trickier. But yeah, hopefully soon. Um So I might do a kind of sort of short stream just because I'm having a little bit of like the beginning of a sore throat, and I don't want to kind of strain my throat too much, just in case. Um, hopefully it's not COVID. Let's just hope, because apparently there's like a new strain here in Australia and it's kind of strong. So fingers crossed. So if anyone has anything that they want me to check, feel free to post it in the chat. Yeah, I know, right? Feel free to post it in the chat. If you want me to review a Maya file, just send it to me on Discord. Anything goes, whichever method you prefer. Because I know that some people prefer Maya file, or like depending on the type of exercise, sometimes it's even easier to just show you how I would do it rather than just give feedback. But if any of you want me to review something on SyncSketch, feel free to post it in the chat. And if not, in the meantime, I will go back to what I was planning on doing last week. Yeah, for sure. Send it over. Then I'm not gonna open what I was going to open. I'm going to just wait. Yeah, feel free. If you're gonna send me something, make sure the rigs are imported in the scene, not referenced. Just because if not, I might not have them. Even if they are Animation Mentor rigs, I don't know if I still have them because I think I deleted a lot of my Animation Mentor files. Because I know that if I ever want to use the rigs again, I'm gonna have to re-download them because they're gonna have updates. So yeah. But in the meantime, let me open the SyncSketch link. And let me share. Cool. Okay. Anything I should know? Are you looking for a specific type of feedback? Things in general? Okay. So you're like moving into polish. Let me make sure this is not muted. Okay. Oh, hang on. This is very low for me.
So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good. She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think so. Okay, how long? We gotta fuel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night. Wow. Okay. Good luck. All right.
Cool. I'm gonna watch it a few times just because there's a lot of things happening. I might go shot by shot. That might be easier, actually.
So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good.
How are you finding these rigs? Because I know that this one is from, I don't know the name of the website, but it's from the guy from Animation Collaborative. Are you finding them good? I'm not sure. Is this one as well from there? It's looking good.
So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good.
Yeah, those ones.
So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good. So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good. So what happened? Well. So what happened? Well, Blue? She's no good. So what happened? Well, Blue?
Okay, cool. I have a few notes. Overall, it's looking pretty good. I think there are a few areas where I would push a few things a little bit more just to feel the mechanics working a little bit more. Oh, okay. Of this one? Okay. Because I know I've seen this one before, but not the other one. But yeah, they seem pretty solid rigs. I haven't tried them myself. I don't have the bandwidth now to add more work into my life, so there's no point in paying for a subscription.
So what happened? Well,
I think like the first thing, um, yeah, if not, if you can, just send me a link to like WeTransfer. I don't know if you know that, this one. And then you can upload it there and send it, because if it's too big on Discord, it's going to be too big for email as well. So just send it over there and it might be easier. Because that one, I think you have up to 2 gigas, however you say it. So I would love to see the reference for this because it might help, but I think that the way that this guy comes out of the car, it feels a little bit off in terms of his weight.
So what happened?
I feel like what I would do, especially because it looks like a kind of like an older person compared to the other rig, I would, once you get up to here, over here, I would try to rotate him a little bit more forward so that basically he's putting all of his weight forward to get the momentum to keep going. Because right now it just feels like his legs are hella strong. So I would just have him kind of lead with the head. So like up to here, you're good. And then as he's coming here, you start kind of making the head lead the way. And then as he's coming, he's going to drag maybe ever so slightly.
So what happened?
Cool, thank you. Let me just open this really quickly so it downloads in the background. I don't think you need to move the hand so much here. I would keep it basically in the same pose all the way up to basically pose 75, because all of this movement that you have over here, I think it's unnecessary. It just creates a bit of distraction and noise in what we're seeing.
So what happened? Well, Blue, she's no good.
Also, another thing that feels a little bit off, and I'm gonna guess that you shot reference for this maybe by yourself, if you shot reference, or maybe you're just copying maybe the if you did shoot with someone else, maybe you're copying it feels a little bit one-to-one, possibly, mainly because of how this hand moves into position. Like it feels very mechanical how it just automatically goes into this. So I understand having like a kind of casual handshake where it's not the main thing, but even here, this hand feels like it's not doing anything and it feels a little bit off in terms of where it's positioned. One suggestion that I have is to have it like there's two suggestions. One is to have it kind of here, and then as he's coming forward, he's going to like kind of press his body weight from that hand. He's going to push himself up with that hand. Or you can have it just maybe dangling a little bit more so that it's not like it's here, because right now it feels like it's here, like that's how it feels like it is. Potentially you could just have it kind of dangling. It doesn't even have to be that further up. It can be like here, but the hand will be like there. That's another And then here, I would basically delay this hand coming up so that it doesn't feel so mechanical. Like maybe the hand over here is just a little bit further back, and maybe it's not in the position yet. And then as it's coming into this position, that's when the hand turns. So it like is from here and it goes like this. And I would open the hand as it's coming. So it's like this, and then it opens. Because right now you go like this. That's also what's making it very mechanical. So I would open the hand more. And be careful because it basically feels like he stops here and then it keeps going. That's why I also feel like maybe you didn't necessarily should reference with someone else, because it needs to feel like both hands come together. Right now it feels like he comes, stops, and waits for the other hand to come. So it needs to feel like they both collide rather than here and just waiting for the other to come. So you need to keep going a little bit. And also check your spacing, because if I track your spacing, it feels kind of even throughout here. Like, see how the space feels kind of the same in each frame. Fair, yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes we see a shot so many times that we lose track of everything. That's why it's good to have feedback from other people, even when you're at work. Like at work, you might have a lead or a supervisor, director, whatever, but it's good also to check with other people. I'm like, are you seeing things that I'm not? Because like, sometimes we get too much on our shots, or even just switching to another shot helps as well. But it's super, super common. Like the amount of times where you're like, I don't even see anything anymore. Especially, I remember it happened to me a lot while I was studying, because at work, you sometimes have between 3 and 6 shots going on at the same time. So if your brain is too like, oh, you just switch to another.
So what happened? Well,
Then I would say basically for for basically the whole sequence. Yeah, but it's not like you do 3 and 6 shots, but it's not like they are so big. Like one might be 48 frames, another one might be 100 frames, another one might be 68 frames. Like it's not like you have all, like this one is, it's not like you have 400 frame shots. If you have a 400 frame shot, chances are if you have other shots, they are very, very small. Because if not, there's just no way. So what I was saying, like I would do a hand pass for each character for the whole thing, and try to avoid this type of hand where it's just flat, which happens here. Then see that it happens here, it happens here, it happens here as he's coming back. Then here it's okay, but then, oops, it kind of happens here again. It happens again here. So basically, what we're trying to look for is to avoid this type of pose, because this pose doesn't tell me anything about the hand. So what you can do is kind of what like they're called like Disney hand grouping. Is like trying to find appeal in the hand. So you can have like 3-1 or 3-1 or 1-2-1 or 2-2 or whichever way, or try to also not have them completely like this. Like there was a part where you had them a little bit curled. I think it was like, where was it? I don't remember right now. But I remember seeing a part where the hand was a little bit curled. So like here, for example, this is a little bit more appealing and interesting because there's variation in the fingers. So I would do a hand pass for the whole thing, and I actually have saved. I don't know if I have them. Let me just check because I used to have them separated, but I don't know if I have a hands tag. You get more shots at the same time as a junior as well. Yes, but they might be simpler. They might be like head turns or reaction shots, depending on the studio, depending on the project, depending on whoever knows you, or if they know they can trust you. So it depends a lot on a lot of things. So let me just look if I have. No, maybe hands in plural. No, okay, I don't have it, but I do have it somewhere around there. But it's like, I know, I remember it. See, I have it here because I always have the same link. Like here are a lot of hand poses that you can get inspiration from. There should be two links there. And I would basically try to find a little bit more appealing, try to avoid basically this flat shape. Yeah. Like you already have areas where the hands are looking very nice. Like for example, this is very interesting and appealing. So I would try to do that for a lot of, like basically a whole pass. Like this one, I would also try to avoid this type of hand where if you see the space between each finger is the same. So that also is not as appealing. If you're going to have a hand that is open, instead of being open like this, it can be like this or like this. Something that basically the distance between each of the fingers is not the same. Okay. Cool. I'm not sure I'm going to have time for absolutely everything, but we'll see. Everything should be downloading. Let me check. Okay, I'm downloading everything. So yeah, I would study those links and the hand poses and just do a hand pass for the whole shot. And also be careful with things like this where the character is going through the geo. If you're not going to simulate the clothes, just make sure that this doesn't go through.
So what happened? Well, blue. So what happened? Well, blue.
Then again, I don't know if it's this rig that is a little bit confusing, but when he's bringing his arm out here, I'm only looking at this guy for now. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of like I said at the beginning of the stream, like my throat is starting to get a little bit sore, so I'm a little bit scared of straining it too much. And actually, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get one of the kind of candies that make it better. I'll be right back. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Because you never know. It's like started like a few hours ago, so it's like, yeah, it's my site. I have to update it. I've been saying that for like a year and a half. I just never have the time, but I will. I'm sorry. Now my voice is going to sound weird. Um. Okay. So as I was saying here, as the arm is coming out, it doesn't feel too much like the shoulder is moving from like 63 all the way to 72. It feels like the arm is moving like this, but the shoulder is not moving. So what needs to happen is as he brings the arm up, this shoulder needs to go up higher and backwards. So like not just this, but this. Because the only way I can move my arm and my hand backwards is if I start from the shoulder and I move it back. If not, it's not going to happen. I mean, it can happen, but you don't have range of movement. Like, it can happen, but it's like I literally have to grab my shoulder to not move it. So make sure that that shoulder is moving. And also make sure you track your arcs. And I'm going to say this, basically track your arcs for everything, for the whole shot. The reason why I'm saying this is, especially on the wrists, it feels like in some areas the wrist is very flat in how they move. It's like here, why is this so small? Here, it's moving very, very flat. So there's no arc. How you do your arc, it's up to you. That is what basically where you get the personality and the what's the word? Like where your animation comes alive in the breakdowns. So you need to add a breakdown to add an arc. Where you put it, it's oh no, it's okay. I'm not feeling super sick. I just when it's like it starts like I have basically all of my life. My throat is the weakest thing I have. You know how Achilles it's his heel? Maybe when I was young, instead of dipping me by the heel, they dipped me by the throat. Because like every year when I was in Argentina, twice a year, I would have a sore throat. I'm super used to it. I'm feeling okay. It's just my throat. So I'm so used to like my mom. If I call my mom and I tell her like, "Oh, guess what's hurting?" She's gonna be like, "Oh my god, again." She's gonna be like, "Did you not? Are you not wearing enough clothes?" Because like I always have my neck exposed like this, and I'm gonna be like, "Mom, it's almost summer, so shh. Don't worry. If I feel too bad, I will leave. I'm good for now." Um, so like here, for example, track your arcs. Also track your arcs here. This leg coming here. It also feels very flat, and it's also going through the car. So this is where you start adding arcs also to solve these problems. Another area, and again, I'm being kind of broad on these things because it's like it's not a thing that I need to be nitpicky about, and I want you to take what I'm saying in one part and then push it to another. We'll get nitpicky when you are almost done with polishing, and then you want to get nitpicky, we'll get nitpicky. But for now, let's do broad strokes here as well. Like this wrist feels like it's just coming down like this. This is like a bad line, but it feels kind of like it's just coming diagonally. An arc would be nice. Perfect. Another area here, it feels like this is very flat. So I would say just track everything. I don't know if you use an arc tracker. I personally love the Animbot arc tracker. It does crash Maya sometimes, but considering the alternative is Maya's motion trails, I would rather have crashes here and there than anything else. And also, it crashes depending on the rigs. Like at work, it crashes all the time, but I think it's because of the pipeline. Like sometimes pipelines don't like Animbot so much. I've never had a problem with Animbot using just rigs, like just animating. Mainly because I think because there is no pipeline, it's okay. So there's like less things that can clash. If you don't want to use Animbot, you can track it manually. You can like draw it on the screen, draw it with blue pencil, grease pencil, if you want Maya to crash, or just upload it here and then track it. Oh my god, are you serious? Oh my god, that's not fun. It feels like a very kind of blocky rig. I've never used it, so I'm not sure how easy it is to animate, but it does feel like a complex shape to animate. Basically, any rig that has like a big mass and thin legs is really hard to animate. I remember animating one of the AM rigs that is like a huge guy with tiny legs. Oh my god, I was crying. It looked really cool in the end, but I was crying all the time because pain. Then another thing that I would be careful about, and again, this is for all rigs all the time, just do a pass. I think I might just basically analyze this one shot and then see what other things I can say on the other two shots. But for the sequence, just apply all the notes to everything, because like I see things that I'm noticing in both characters, so I'm already thinking this might be happening later. So the other thing that I wanted to say is basically there you have areas where the body feels like it's moving like a unit. It's like the most common thing that happens, because when we move in real life, we tend to sometimes move as a unit, and not all the time, but it's like it's common if you see reference, basically seeing this whole area, like from the hips up, kind of moving as one. Um, or it doesn't, but it's very subtle. And so in animation, we need to push it a little bit more. And so, where do I see this body moves as a unit thing so that you can see it and fix it in other places? For example, here as he's coming back, this guy, um, it feels basically, how do I say it? Like from here up, it feels like everything moves. See how stiff I am? Whereas if I'm going to go backwards, I might like overlap my head down. I would like counter this a little bit. That already is helping rather than this, because it feels like it's pivoting from one point. Then I also feel it basically as he's coming up. This is why I was drawing also that kind of dragging the head and the chest a little bit more. Like if you see from basically 92, I'm gonna turn this off, all the way up to here, if you see this guy, it feels like it's just a block that is moving. So how do you get rid of that? It's sometimes maybe overlapping, like, or dragging the chest, dragging the head, shifting, like tilting, like getting a little bit more contrapposed. So all of that is going to help it feel way more organic. Oh my god, yeah, but like I love that you're laughing. Like it's so common. Like I remember, if any of you are in Animation Mentor and you have Sean Sexton, or you can go and just watch his reviews, 80% of the times his feedback is the body moves as a unit. Is so funny, because it got to a point where even when I was working with him on Spirit, I would like sometimes like kind of have like a game with myself of how many times does Sean say that the body moves as a unit. It was so common, like even at work. So don't worry, this is a super common thing, but it's like how can we start pushing things and moving them around so that it doesn't feel lucky. And the same thing happens, like for example, with this guy all the way here, it feels very unit. And then as he turns, especially as he turns here, you can break this up a little bit more. So maybe his chest starts turning before his hips, and then his hips, for example. But yeah, it's such a common thing. I remember like playing the game with myself of, okay, how many times does Sean give this feedback? Or this other, he has another, I can't remember his other note that he usually gives, but he used to give it all the time. And it was so funny. I was like, I bet he's gonna say this. Yep. He would always say that. So I think that's basically like most of the things that you need is like hand poses, arcs, and body moves as a unit. Like here, this hand pose could also be better. Tracking the spacing of things. So for example, if I track, I'm just gonna track kind of here, kind of in the middle. It feels a little bit even. So maybe just tracking, making sure that your spacing is all nice and taken care of. Then another thing to be mindful of is if you look at this guy's hands, look at both of them at the same time. See how from here to here, they move at the exact same time, the exact same rate, in the exact same direction. So what you can do to change this is adding a little bit of offsetting in the hand. So for example, maybe this guy like gets to this guy's back a little bit sooner. Maybe this hand is a little bit more delayed. So it's like a little bit of this, just so that it's not like they are both doing this, but rather 1, 2. Doesn't need to be like 1 and then like a million frames later 2. It just doesn't, like, you can even reach at the same time, which I wouldn't recommend for this shot because it will feel a little bit unnatural, but you can do that and have like different spacing. So like you can get to the same point at the exact same time, but the in betweens are going to be different. For this, I would recommend getting the hand on the back first and then the other. I think it's going to be feel a little bit more natural. And then here as well, like look at this hand and the hips. So if I look at this from here to here, the hips and the hand move at the exact same time and reach at the exact same moment. So what you need to do is maybe either the one or like this is where you choose. Either the hand comes first and then the butt, or the butt and then the hands. Whichever you prefer, this is your animation, so whatever makes you happy. But yeah, choose. I would like to give you also feedback on the lip sync, but I think I prefer it when people, like if you're studying and everything, it's better to first have a very, very solid body mechanics slash body pass, and then we can go into the face, because if not, it gets a little bit too overwhelming. Like I remember what it was like to like study and everything, and it was so overwhelming. So I would say work on this first, and then if you want, next week we can take a look at the face. But I wouldn't go into everything, because it's better for you to either even just polish like a little bit, like you can like just grab like the first 100 frames or just the first shot and polish that until it's like amazingly beautiful, and then you can go into the face. Or if you're like me, when I was studying, what worked for me, which I can't do at work because we don't have what I need from the rigs, is I used to polish just like the body without the arms, and like just body like with the head, no arms, and I would just polish that. But I don't know if these rigs have like a proxy mode where you can hide the arms. Just good for my brain, it was easier. So just giving you different ways in which you can polish. I'm going to like quickly look at this, but I'm gonna guess that the feedback is gonna be a little bit similar. So just wanna see if something really stands out. Oh, I should unmute this.
Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd.
I want to see something actually.
What happened? She's no good. She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd.
How does this continue?
She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think she's done, Todd.
I don't know. This is going to be like a suggestion, personal preference. When I block, no, I block with the arms. I block poses because I like to look at the silhouette and everything and how everything interacts. So I block with everything in. There are people who block without the arms, like they do a hip. Like that's usually what you do when you do layered animation. you turn off the arms, you block in splines, and you do like a hips pass, and then you do a chest pass, and then you do a head pass, and then you do the arms. My brain doesn't work for that. I've tried doing the layered method, and every single time, I want to cry so bad. So even for creatures, like I know that for creatures it's way better to block in splines. I can't. Like I need to do it pose to pose, but that's just because my brain works like that. There's nothing wrong with either method. It's just whatever works for you. But I like to block um, the whole pose because then I can see how everything works. So what I was gonna say is,
She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running?
like, it feels like this hand movement, especially because this guy is so close to us, and then like these two hands, kind of like this one and this one, they kind of feel like they move in unison here. I'm wondering,
Think you can get that one running?
maybe it's because I was thinking, should you like not have that
That one running? I think so.
action? But it's not that that action shouldn't happen. It's more,
No good. She's done, Todd.
I wonder if it's more of when he gets into this pose at the end here, maybe he's already with the arm here. What that's going to do, and this is a suggestion, you don't have to do it, this is just me, because it feels a little bit busy with him grabbing the, like bringing the cigarette to his mouth and then the other guy pointing. It just feels like a lot happens at the exact same time, and so it gets a little bit harder to read. So what I would do is maybe, or maybe this hand is like, I don't know, a little bit closer. So it's like this movement is not that big. Or he starts like is he's here looking down a little bit too long. So potentially as he's getting into this 136, he's already starting coming back. And so this hand will already be in that pose. So when you start, it's already going to be here, and he's going to just finish this movement backwards. It might be like you have like just these few frames of adjusting, maybe even just this ones. And then what you can do is basically this movement, potentially starting it around here. So by here, he's already with the cigarette. Not maybe not that frame, but like by the time that this guy starts moving his hand, he would already have the cigarette there. Just so that it's a little bit less all at the same time. Then the same thing of body moving as a unit. Like I like that he starts turning his head, but then from here to here, it feels like everything moves together. And then arcs for everything. Just make sure. Like track the nose. The nose is also feeling, especially here, a little bit mechanical. Basically spacing, the arcs, everything. Oh wait, I forgot to say something in this one. I wouldn't, like, this feels a little bit broken in terms of, whoops, this hand here. I wouldn't rotate the wrist so much. I would have the hand kind of like that.
She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think so. She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running?
His finger feels very, very short. I would just uncurl it a little bit.
She's done, Todd. Think you can get that one running? I think so.
And then as he gets into this, I would have a weight shift as he's coming backwards, like he's rotating that way. Like I see that you have a weight shift here. That's great. And then as he's turning, when he finishes turning, I would have him shift his weight to this leg and potentially have him go a little bit further back and then back, because basically what's happening is his hips are just how, let me see, if his hips are doing this, they're just rotating. What I would like to see is the hips rotating, weight shift, and then adjust, so that it's not just this. Basically he is like here, you have a weight shift here and then he rotates. What it would be nice is to have the weight shift, then he rotates, weight shift, and then settles. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't make sense. Then try to avoid places like this where the hand is foreshortened and you see basically the hand is covering the lower arm. Try to maybe bend the arm a little bit, either in or out, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna guess because of how this guy is, it might be better just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just like having the hand here, you're already going to be able to see that lower arm, and that's going to read better. Then again, track arcs and spacing. Like, see, the spacing is very even. And then hand pose. I really like the flicker that you have with the cigarette. Be careful though. I would move this a little bit further down because it's tangenting with the fingers quite a bit. See how it's tangenting there? If you don't know what a tangent is, it's basically when you have like a line and then another line, and it's just like they are kind of uniting through just a point. And so it's happening quite a bit here. So you can literally, instead of changing your animation, just move the what I'm supposing is the car just a little bit further down on the screen. And then be careful here. Like, I can see that his hips are moving, but this hand is completely locked in space. So it feels a little bit off if he's touching he's having like laying his hand on his hips or his legs. That's going to need to have a little bit movement. If it's not, if it's in the air, that's going to have a little bit of movement because his chest is moving and he's breathing. So either way, that hand needs to move.
Hoping by the end of the night. Wow. Okay. Good luck. All right. So. Okay. How long? You got to feel all these things up. What do you got? Okay. How long? You got to feel all these things up. What do you got? I think so. Okay. How long? You got to feel all these things up. Okay. How long? You got to feel all these things up.
I'm a little bit confused in this part.
You got to feel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night. Okay. How long?
Like, I'm not sure about this hand gesture, like what he's trying to convey with it. What's the subtext that he has in this moment? The reason why I'm asking this is because it feels like he's a little bit like, oh no, how much is this going to cost? but then he's like super chill, like sup. So I'm a little bit confused in here about the acting choice. Um,
Okay, how long? We gotta feel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night. Okay, how long? So. Okay, how long? We gotta feel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm so.
Either way, I think that for this, maybe what I would like is next time. Okay, but which one is it? Is he like, oh no, this is like, what's the subtext of him? Is he feeling like when he says, what does he say?
Okay, how long? We gotta feel all these things up. Okay, how long? We gotta feel.
What does he say?
Okay, how long? We gotta feel all. Okay, how long? We gotta feel all these things up. What do you got?
Okay, so is it that his subtext is, oh man, is this going to cost me a lot of money? I don't have that much money. Or is it, oof, uh, it's going to be a big one, but just let me know because I have the money. Like, whichever it is. I think that what I'm reacting to
Okay,
is
how
that,
long? We
again,
gotta
it feels
feel.
a little bit busy
Okay,
in
how
terms of
long?
what's
We
happening
gotta
here.
feel all
He's
these
moving a
things.
lot, and then
How long? Feel
already
all these things.
both hands move at the same time, and he goes into this. So maybe if you want to keep both actions, maybe I wouldn't. Because again, for me, this acting choice is a little bit like, I'm not sure about it, but
We gotta feel all these things up.
I feel like you can simplify it a little bit if you want to keep it. Like, I wouldn't have it on the head. I would have it always here, like this, because right now it feels a little bit weird here and then here. So either keep it here all the time or keep it here all the time. Choose which one. But don't go like, oh no, because it feels very busy. So either go, oh no, or like oof, and like it can even be, it doesn't have to be this, it can just be like the fingers, like oof, this, like doing this. And here it can just be a very simple like this, and it can even again be just the fingers doing this rather than moving all the time. And then I wouldn't, again, the same thing of both hands move at the same time. So I would delay this one moving quite a bit. And I would start this weight shift that you have, like the weight coming here, a little bit sooner because it feels a little bit odd that he's moving his hands a lot, but his hips are in the same place. I would like to see the reference for this. So maybe if you want next time, if you can, put your reference for that animation in there because I want to see what we can get from your reference. And if you didn't shoot reference, I would say shoot reference for this because you might see details here that you're missing.
Wow. Okay. Good luck. All right. So.
But it does look like you shot reference, so I'm pretty sure you did.
Wow. Okay. Good luck. All right. So.
I don't think you need to put this hand here. I think this hand can kind of end here. And if you can somehow get this to read a little bit more, like maybe the hand is a little bit more forward, just so that we can see the lower arm.
Okay. How long? We gotta feel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night. Wow. Feel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night.
This is again what's confusing a little bit for me in terms of the acting choices, because it's like they are switching power dynamics in a little bit of a confusing way. That's why I keep asking you about the subtext, because it's like here he seems like the oh no, so he's in control, but then he's not looking at him, so he's in control. He's like proud and yeah, and then the other guy is like, oh, maybe by the end of the night. So that's when it gets a little bit confusing to watch because it's like, what is really happening here? What is the subtext? What are they going through? Is it that this guy um, wrecked his car and he wants it fixed ASAP, and he told this guy, I need it by Friday, and it's Thursday and it's Friday morning, and this guy doesn't have it, and this guy is in trouble because he should have it? Or is it the other way around where this guy um is like, he needs it, but maybe he doesn't have all the money, and the other guy is like, eh, I can have it by the end of the night, but like it's gonna cost you. So it's like the facial expression and the attitude is gonna be different. That's what I think. For me, it feels a little bit confusing. Again, this is your shot. You can do whatever you want with it. This is my impression from this part in particular, where it feels like the it's changing a little bit in terms of the subtext of each character. Or is it like this is his son and this is the father? It could be any relationship you want. But then if he's not worried, then I wouldn't have this because it's confusing in terms of why would he be like this. So food for thought, think about it. If you want to keep it like this, I mean, again, it's your shot. You can do whatever you want. I'm just giving my 2 cents of what it feels like for me.
Well, I'm hoping by the end of the night. Wow. Okay. Good luck. All right. So. Okay. How long? We got to fuel all these things up. What do you got? Well, I'm hoping by the end of.
If you don't want him to feel like he's not confident, just keep his head lift up and don't have him look downwards like this or that. Like, just have him like, by the end of the night, like, whatever. That could be an option. Always head high, chest up. Like, he can be like, kind of like that, but he can be like, hoping by the end of the night. And like, looking like, yeah, that could be an option. Because right now, again, I'm a little bit confused about what is happening. And then be careful here as well. It feels like this hand is moving very even in spacing, and then it hits this pose, and like I can see the elbow moving, but the hand is stuck, is glued in space. Like it's like glued here, and the elbow is moving. But look at my hand. If I move my elbow, my hand moves. Even if I'm like pulling it here, this part is moving, even if it's glued. So that needs to move a little bit. And then arcs, this is moving very horizontally. So yeah, those are kind of like broad strokes of what I would look. Um, it's not like you're like, I know that it feels like I gave a lot of notes. You're in a good spot in terms of where you're at. It's just now getting into the nitty gritty of polishing and making sure that everything feels very organic. And then acting choices is up to you. This is just kind of how I saw it. You can ask other people to see how they saw it and go from there. Um, and then we can look at the faces if you want next week. Yeah. Do you have any questions? While you see if you have questions, I'm gonna see the links that I've just downloaded. Okay. Where is this? Okay, here it is. Cool. Awesome. Then I'm going to open this shot and see where we're at. I know this rig. It looks very familiar. Of course it's Stella. Okay. Actually, I don't. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Okay. Do we have a... Is this the camera? Or is this the camera? I'm just going to set it here. And how long does this last? Until here. Then I'm going to play last. Oh, sorry. I'm so tired, apparently. Also, I should have changed the Twitch description. I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. Okay, sure. So this one is yours, right? Okay, cool. Cool. Did you shoot reference for this? Just asking. Okay. Show markers. Why did I? Whatever. So I think it's pretty good. I would recommend when you're studying, always shoot reference. Like, it's okay to have things from your brain, but if you're trying to learn how to do weight shifts, the best way is to come from life. Once you study life, then you can go into animating from your brain. But even if you animate from your brain, sometimes it's good to have reference. Like, I sometimes shoot reference even though I'm not using it. Like, I'm doing a shot right now where I shot reference and I saw the reference and I'm like, this is useless. So I took from the reference just the body mechanics and then I built what I needed. So for this, I'm just going to look at the hips first. Like, I feel like the first weight shift feels pretty nice. I think there are a few complexities that we can simplify. So for example, here it's like, I don't think that you need to have this rotation in Y, where it kind of comes this way, because basically you're barely moving the foot, so the hips don't really need to move that much here. It's a very small weight shift. So I personally would not have that. I would just reduce this, and I have to wait until Animbot opens. I can do like a demo on weight shift soon, but probably next week. Yeah, but that's the thing. When you're doing reference, you shouldn't rotoscope. You should understand what's happening. And yes, sometimes it's hard to see this, but maybe what you can do is wear clothes that really let you see what's happening. So, for example, I remember when we were at Animation Mentor, there were people who, why can't I? Okay, there we go. Who, like, on their pants, they would, like, even I did it once. Like, they would put tape here, like a cross, and then like another here in the chest. So you will have two, and sometimes one in the middle. So it would look like this, like white tape over black clothes, for example. Then like here, like, I wouldn't recommend black clothes basically, but anything that can let you see. And even if you're saying like, oh, I can't really see because the movements are so subtle, shoot with two, like if you have two phones or two cameras or your computer camera, or ask a friend for their phone and basically have one phone zooming in your hips so that you can see the movements, and then another one further back. So you have the exact same reference from different angles, not angles, but like zooming distances, so that you can actually see those things. But you need to see these things because if not, when you get onto other shots that are more subtle animation, you're going to lose a lot of information because you can't see it. And seeing it is just training your eye. Literally, eventually, you're going to just notice it. But it takes a while to see these things. At the beginning, it's really hard to see, okay, what is the hip actually doing? Is it rotating? Is it doing this? Is it doing that? And that's going to come with experience and a lot of studying your reference. So that's why I would say don't animate from your brain yet. Like, it's not that it's a bad thing, but if you're just animating from your brain, you don't really know what is actually happening with the body. So I would say, again, 2 cameras if you have them, or get a friend or a family member, someone who can lend you their phone and shoot literally the same thing, different angles, sorry, different zooming distances. But yeah, always try to shoot reference, not wearing black, wearing bright colors. If you can have like a white background or basically a plain background, that's even better because then you can actually see what's happening. Or even if it's not a plain background, basically a background that is not super busy. Like, for example, my background right now is super busy. There's like too many things happening. So when I shoot reference, like I shot something for work the other day and like my hand was doing something, and because my camera isn't that good of a quality, I couldn't see exactly what my hand was doing. But I was like, I can guess what's happening. I don't need, like, for me, reference is reference. I'm not copying one to one. So it's like, I'm going to take what I can see and use it as just literally reference. So I would not have this rotation. I do like that here, as it's coming into this, you have a little bit of rotation. That one doesn't bother me. We'll just maybe tone it down. Whoops. And then maybe here I would keep on moving this just a little bit longer. Just a little, like a few more pixels, just because when I play blasted it, it felt a little bit like it was hitting a wall. Then here, like if we see this, I don't know how it will be best to show you, but maybe. No, that's not the one that I like. Oh, which one is the one that I like? Dashed? This is not what I like. Whatever, it's okay. Oof, the motion trails are not working well today. Let me undo. Oh, wait. Are these the Maya motion trails? Why do they look like the Maya motion trails? Because they are the motion trails for Maya. I was like, that's not the Animbot ones. I was like, they look too familiar in a bad way. I'm like, those are not the correct ones. Okay, so if I'm correct. Yeah, there we go. That's the style that I like. Okay. So what I like to do when I do things that I'm not sure about, I zoom in quite a bit. So here it feels like the spacing is a little bit even. Then it kind of bounces a little bit, and then it speeds up, and then it's even again. So what we can do. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. Like, but I was like, when you see them, you're like, those are ugly motion trails. I don't like them, because I have like PTSD more or less with Maya and its features. I remember trying to use motion trails and everything being slow and crashing and pain. So it's like, every time I see them, I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen. So I like using weighted tangents. You don't have to use them. It's not for everyone. I'm not saying it's better or worse, it's just it's a preference. I like them because I like just having flexibility with my curves. You can use whatever you want. You can just add more keys if you need them. Basically, I just want to have a little bit more. Actually, I should have the buffer curves just so that we can see. Okay, perfect. I just like a little bit more flexibility with my curves because I like not having that many keys, but it's up to you. So I'm gonna use weighted tension, so just so you know. So here I'm having like a little bit more of a ease out. So for an ease out, if you were to set a key, basically this key is closer to this one than this one. That's like an ease out. And then here it's almost stopping, but not. And then again, another ease out. And then I want to see what's. I feel like. What is happening? For some reason, my hotkeys sometimes stop working, but whatever. So basically you're going from here all the way to here, and that's your weight shift. So I would simplify this quite a bit. I really need to get my hotkeys to working. I know, right? Honestly, Maya's motion trails literally are the worst. That I think if I had to choose what's Maya's worst feature ever is the grease pencil. And the reason for this is because I can't even count how many times I turn on the grease pencil. I literally go and do one dot and the whole screen turns black. Completely black. And there's no control Z that will undo it. It angers me so much. That's why I personally purchased Blue Pencil 2. I keep talking about this. I swear I'm not getting any like royalties or whatever just to say their name. I'm just like really happy with Blue Pencil 2. It's like you pay for it one time and it's like I think it's like 70 US dollars, which is a lot, but you pay for it once. No, Epic Pen, as far as I know, when I tried Epic Pen works on Windows. So I can draw over all of this if I want to. But if I move my Maya, it won't follow it. Blue Pencil 2 is this one. I can just draw here and then I can either have it do that or I can have it like static so that I can like track spacing, for example. So I can in each frame it will actually draw it over one frame, or animation, which is like this where each frame will do a different thing, and so I can kind of draw over like that. I also have layers, which is amazing. I can transform, I can move around. So I have this, I can transform. And I don't remember how to use this too much, but see, I can move it around. So it's like so useful and it doesn't crash. So like that for me is a win. So I'm going to clear this up. I can send you guys the link. Hang on. I personally like I paid for it. I don't even remember when. I think it was if it wasn't 4 years ago, it was 5. And if you think about it, it's an investment. If you use grease pencil a lot, if you don't like drawing on the screen, don't buy it because it's worthless. But if you like drawing on your screen and doing things on your screen, it's just much better. So this one is, let me see how much this one was. It's 65 US dollars. So it's a little bit cheaper than I remember. And again, I bought it ages ago. You can use it on 2 computers at the same time, I believe. A few workplaces give it to you for free at work. So my one has, and this is like all the things that it has, like a lot of extra things. You can type text as well. Exactly. For a one time, if I were to pay for this every year, then I probably wouldn't, because I would have to be animating all the time from my own computer, from everything. But considering it's just one time off, it's like the same with Keyframe MP Pro. They are from the same creators. I just bought the license. It's like I paid for it one time and I use it all the time. So yeah. But again, if you don't draw on your screen, don't get it, because it's literally all you do with that, with Blue Pencil 2, is drawing on your screen. But I use it a lot for um like either tracking things or analyzing or kind of planning sometimes. But the most thing that I use it for is when I'm doing my lip sync. I write all of the shapes and the kind of phonemes that I'm gonna use on the screen. And then I just turn off my audio, which makes Maya go faster. Because if you have your audio on, Maya is a little bit slower. And so I just know which shapes I need without having to go and listen to the audio. But it depends also on how much time I have, because sometimes I'm lazy. Okay, so let's go back to the TX. So basically, once it starts going, it's going to smoothly go from one side to the other, which you have here. So I'm not too bothered. But what's kind of catching my eye, it's like the thing about being a little bit even doesn't bother me as much because it's a very small motion, but we can slightly tweak this. But what's really kind of catching my eye is how it dips here. So that tells me that you have your rotation Z at the end. Haha, you thought I wouldn't notice, but I did. So, two things that you can do. When you have a weight shift, I just want to. When you have a weight shift, what I like to do on my weight shifts is have sometimes like a slight dip on the hips, which you have like the dip here, but then it keeps just being down. So I would just move this back up once it gets to. So this is your TX kind of ends here. So around here is where I will have this. And again, I'm kind of doing this by eye. Actually, this is where your TY is here. You can do it however, I'm just literally doing by eye. And then around here, it's going to be like a very soft, whoops, not that, a very soft slope. It doesn't have to be like a lot, just a little bit. Even here, you could also potentially, like, you don't have to, this is kind of repetitive, but you can have like a little, that's way too much. Just a little bit so that if we see the hips, there's a tiny arc. Because this one is a little bit bigger, I might go further down. And then basically, what's happening is here you have the hips at 0, which they are centered, so that's not terrible. But then as they shift a little bit, you can ever so slightly rotate them, just a little bit. And then as they come down and to the center, it's okay. I think maybe a little bit less because they moved too quickly there. I would actually shift the weight slightly sooner. And then I can adjust this. And the reason for this It was just that it was feeling like it was moving slightly slow on the TX. But I'll do next time. I'll just try to remember. I need a post-it to remind me. I'll do a proper weight shift demo, like you were saying on Discord, where there's like a subtle one and then a bigger one, especially for um, like starting to run and something like that. There's I wish I could find it. There's like a really good James Baxter demo. Let me see if I don't know if it's online. I was able to see it. I can't remember like one time at work, but I don't know if I think um I don't know if it's I think it's no. There's one where he analyzes like basically he has someone like a friend of his daughter that shot reference for him, and he does weight shifts, and it like not just weight shift, but it's like basically how like getting starting to walk you have to unbalance yourself, and if you have to uh start running you do it in a different way. I don't know if it's online. If it's online I will post it in on Discord. If not I'll just do something next week. I'll do it anyway next week. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know if because I've seen it, but because now basically Animal Logic is Netflix, and then the previous movie that I was on was Netflix, and the previous movie was DreamWorks, so it was James Baxter as well. Like I've had his lectures available so for so long that I don't remember. Like, I'm not trying to flex. I'm just saying like when you get into the industry, there are way more things out there, and then you see them and you're like, oh, I've seen this like 1,000 times because every job has the exact same lectures, which are very cool. But like you get used to it, like I've seen this before. I think we can get to this TX even a little bit faster. And then for this is where I would like I like that it's coming up and down a little bit. We just arch this a little bit more. And then from here to there, I would just lower this a little bit. Also, if you have any specific weight shifts that you would like to see, like for example, I don't know, there's this, I don't know, um, TV show where they did something, not an animated one, but like a actual human one, feel free to send it. I'm gonna read out loud so that people, when they rewatch this, if they ever do, they can see it. So you feel like you're in a point where you can do a backflip or exaggerated movement pretty decent. But when it comes to weight shifts or subtle stuff, like you were saying before, you realize how much you lack. Oh, that's honestly like that is. Don't feel bad about that. That is super normal because subtle is hard. Whoever tells you that it's not hard, they are lying. Subtle is hard. It's the hardest thing because the problem with subtle is that you have to do very, very little, but not so little that it's not doing anything, but not so much that it feels like it's drifting, but also sharp enough that it feels intentional, but not that sharp that it loses the subtleness. Subtle is hard. I hate subtle. For some reason, I tend to do better in subtle, but just because I've been given too many subtle shots in my life that I had no choice but to do it. Do I like it? No. I hate subtle because it's really hard. Like every time that I have to do a subtle shot, I am in pain because it's so hard. Eventually you start to get the hang of it. Like usually when I'm doing something that is subtle, if you see my timeline, I might have keys either every 4, 6, or even 8 frames. Like I've had a shot that it was subtle. I had frames every 8. I had keyframes every 8 frames. Depends on the shot, depends on how much the character is moving. Like sometimes the subtleties are maybe on the face, or like on maybe like very subtle movements that don't happen in the whole body but in like details. Yeah. So basically when you do animation, you learn body mechanics, and body mechanics are rarely subtle. Like you can do more subtle things, but like if you're doing body mechanics, it's better to learn how to do, I don't know, a character standing up from a chair than a character just doing a weight shift, because you're going to learn a lot more from that. But don't feel bad if you're struggling with subtle motion. It is complex. It just is. Eventually it will get easier and you'll find what works for you. Like for example, Daniel has a method for subtle acting choices, acting animations, where I think he's done a demo, or if he hasn't, he will at some point. But basically he animates the head first, and then he copies the curves into the neck, the chest, and the hips, and then he offsets them, and that works really well for me. And then he bakes them and does other things, or like adjust them. But depending on what leads the motion, he will animate that first. And I think Aire Santos, I don't know if you guys know him, he does that too. Like he usually animates whatever is doing the most acting. So for example, let's say I have a shot where the character, he has a shot actually, where the character is like blah 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 blah. He animated the hand first and then the rest, because that's the most important thing of the shot. If the most important thing of the shot is the head movement, then you would animate that. But it's different people have different methods. I do, as always, my blocking in step. It feels more natural to me. It's what works for me. When I'm doing subtle, I depend a lot on reference, and yeah. But to each their own. You will eventually find what works for you. Some people do layered animation for subtle. It's up to you. So for this, I would like to actually overshoot the hips a little bit, because it feels like they just stop, and like this foot keeps moving, which feels a little bit odd for me, that the foot keeps moving but the hips don't. So I would overshoot the hips a little bit. That might be too much, but better to do a lot and then tone back down. And actually, maybe we can get there faster. No, you know what's also a thing that's annoying me? Because I'm like, what is happening that my brain is like not working? And I'm like, is the rotation in Z? Because by here, this should already be way more favoring the other pose, because the weight is already on that other leg. Maybe this starts a little bit. So see, now this is already starting to tilt, because as soon as basically I need another pen. Okay, here. What do I do with these 2 pens? I don't know. We will figure it out. I only have 2 hands. As soon as I shift all of my weight this side, in order for my hips not to basically just tilt like this, they need to adjust to where my weight is. Basically, if I'm gonna put all my weight on this leg is going to push upwards, and this one is gonna drop a little bit, like it's happening here. See how this is kind of dropping, And the reason why I know it's dropping is because it's bending. So because it's dropping, it's going to do this. So as soon as that leg starts to shift its weight, it's going to rotate. I hope that makes sense. And now it's moving too much TX. Like the overshoot was nice for a little bit, but that was too much. Perfect. And don't worry if it makes sense now, but then you go do it and your brain is like, that made sense in the moment, but not anymore. That is also normal. Don't worry. That's like me when I go to my acrobatics class. I'm like the teacher is like, does that make sense? And I'm like, yes, but I'm probably not gonna be able to do it because my body doesn't understand it. Yeah, it's like my brain gets it. My brain is like, yes. But then if I have to animate, my hand says no. So, yeah. So here, as this starts to lift, we need to shift the weight to the other leg a little bit more, which I know you were doing here, but I basically deleted it when, or I don't know if you were doing it here or I did it for something. It seems to be there, so I'm going to assume you did it. I'm just going to bring that back because you were doing the right thing. And then here, I would still maintain this a little bit more. And again, a little bit of basically, if this is where this is. I like to do, like, you can do them up as well, but up feels weird for me, so I like to do them down. I don't think it needs to go up then quickly. So here, I feel like this leg needs to get there maybe a little bit sooner, but let's just play blast really quickly to see this, the actual timing of things. Play blasting, it takes forever. Also, my arm hurts so much because I went to like a class and now I have like bruises all over. I don't know if you guys can see. So I am in pain. But no pain, no gain, am I right? Okay. Like I know we're concentrating on the hips, but I wanted to see the feet really quickly just to double check. So basically I went to a Lyra class. I don't know if you guys know what Lyra is. Lyra is basically um let me just draw it. A Lyra class is the hoop that dangles from the air, and they made us do a trick. Like I'm very beginner, like I have no strength. They made us do a thing where you change the color, where you would wrap your arms around and hang from the air. And basically, this is not how the arms were. The arms were like that. So I would hang from here, like the hoop was here, and now I'm in pain because that was very painful. Like all of the bruises are from hanging from the hoop. Yeah, it was fun though. Aside from the pain. So okay, I think yeah we can move the feet slightly faster. It is fun. Like I know it sounds horrible to have bruises and everything, but it's so much fun. Like I'm doing acrobatics, Lyra, and then I want to do silks, and it's really fun. but it's really painful. And I'm very newbie. Like I can't do a pull up to save myself. Like if someone were to come and say do a pull up or a chin up or I will shoot you, I would say just shoot me because it ain't happening. Not even to save my life. Yeah, definitely worth it. Like one day I will be able to be good at it. I feel like we can get to this like one frame sooner. And then we get that nice little straight leg. What is happening here? Why are you? Oh, you thought I wouldn't cut you. You think I wouldn't notice. But no, I did. So, if this is when you hit the ground, this already has to be 0. That's okay. Whoops, not the T, the RY. Knee pops, so I like to fix my knee pops. Like I do my foot rolls and I try to have them work in what they have to, like for example, the ease outs and everything and the spacing. And then I just use the bendies to fix the knee pops because it's like so much faster. Like I wouldn't recommend this until polishing basically. Like I would only do this in polishing, but I would turn on the bend controls on the knees and just literally fix from there. It takes way less time. Ain't nobody got time for actually fixing everything. As long as everything makes sense, it doesn't matter how you got there. Should I? Mm, kinda. Just thinking if this leg I want it to already be here or not. Probably. But then this is going to be just a. Nah. There we go. Why is this still moving? Do you have like. Oh, I know what it is. Oops. Of course. I was like, why is this moving? Because there's something still there. I wouldn't use the ball twist just yet. Like I might just keep this more leveled. Or actually just. Where are you from, by the way? Because I remember you mentioning the stream and that you weren't able to catch it last time. Oh, no way! That's cool. Oh, wait, I think you've told me this before. I'm sorry. I have terrible memory. If that's something that people should know about me, is that my memory sucks. Do you know Matei? I'm not saying that as in all Romanians know each other, but he's like out of all the people from Animation Mentor, like the most popular Romanian. Why is this happening? What's happening? Oh, I know what's happening. This leg, I know what's happening. I'm just gonna just make it stretchy. There we go. Fair. Okay, now we're working this. Okay. We can probably get to this foot roll like slightly faster. I personally don't like using foot roll if the leg is in the air, but I don't want to have to change it right now from what you did. So let's just pretend it's not there. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. Nice. Yeah, he told me I forgot to message him because he started a Blue Zoo as a lead now, so very well for him. Very well. He's gonna do great. So, yeah. For this, I would like to go back to the curves. And I would like to save because I feel like I'm probably going to accidentally delete this. For this, I don't mind that the hips are going up, but it feels a little bit off that they just go up. So maybe I would have them go up a little bit at the beginning. And then here I would go make them go down and then up again. Do you have foot roll over there? Yeah. And then here I would have them go up. Again, if you're gonna kind of be doing this alongside afterwards, don't try and copy the curves that I'm doing. I'm literally just playing around, trying to feel it out. So it's not like this is the way. So for this, as this is coming here, I'm going to shift those hips that way a little bit more. No, I'm just saying because I remember, I think I said it last time, like someone explaining something or seeing a demo and me copying the curves, almost like looking at the values and copying them one to one. I didn't learn anything from that. It's just better to try to understand what's happening and go from there. So here, because again, we are shifting the weight a little bit more to screen right, and it means that those hips are going to drop, and if the hips drop, they're going to rotate down on screen left. So I'm going to do this, and then as we're going that way, they are going to stabilize. And then over here, they should already be shifted this side. And I think I want to have this further down. I'm not too happy about the TX right now. Yeah, it feels very complicated. Like it should just be like a simple from one side to the other. Like a simple curve. It doesn't need to be that complex. It just needs to be like an ease out, ease in. And probably it should keep going here because it's still kind of going there. Even here, I would still have them going. Basically, because if this leg is in the air, it means that all of my weight has to be on the other leg, because if not, I would fall. So once that leg starts to get into place, that's when I can shift the weight back to the other side. So even here, I'm just going to move this here because it's like annoying me how close it is. It's not going to let me play with the curves. And over here, it's moving way too quickly, so I'm just gonna slow this down so that it has a nice ease out. And then eases in. We can even have an overshoot. That's way too much. Tiny overshoot. There we go. Just like a slight adjustment. And then let's go back to our TY. I'm gonna turn off this. Oops. Just gonna shift this a little bit. We need this to start going down a little bit sooner. Maybe it's a little bit further down. This can even keep going down up a little bit. I'm just trying to basically create arcs with the hips. And like a trick that some people do to get free arcs is you can have basically your TX, TY, they could even be similar, and then you just shift um, one frame over, and then you're gonna get free arcs. I kind of like building my arcs myself, but it's a good way. Okay, let's play Bless and see where we're at. Also, if anyone has been to Japan, can you guys send me like tips and tricks for going to Japan? Because I would love to know for next year. Okay, let's see where we're at. Why is this so far away? I don't know. That was way too fast. The last one is way too fast. Next year. For my birthday. What? TX. Like I'm not in love with how far it's going, but maybe it's just toning down this one. Not yet. I would love to go to India, but I would love to go when my friend who is from India, like a specific friend who is from India, is there because I want her to show me everything. Um, like I have a bunch of friends from India, but I want this specific friend to be there. I feel like it's such a different country and culture that I usually solo travel, and like even going to Japan it feels a little bit scary because of the language barrier. So I'm kind of taking it slow. Like I would love to go to India, but culturally I want to like make sure that I'm being respectful and everything's going well. So I would like to have my friend, and also my friend being like, you should eat this and eat this and eat this and eat this other thing. Because the times that she's recommended food from India, oh my god, it was amazing. It was love. So good. Okay, that's a good thing. What is this? I don't know if I can eat this because I'm vegetarian, but I'm gonna Google it right now. What is this thing? Is okay. I think I can eat this. Oh no, I can't eat this. It has octopus. But thanks though for the recommendation. If you have vegetarian recommendation, also that's gonna be so tricky. Like I have a friend who's vegetarian and she went to Japan and she's like, yeah, sometimes we weren't sure what to eat, so we would just go to the supermarket and buy the same thing. Cool. Well, don't wait for me. Like just let's do like one time we all go to India and then we all do like an Indian reunion. Because I was going to go for my friend's wedding, but then the pandemic was still going on, so it was a little bit like, what if I can't go back? And then it's tricky. And I did see like a streaming of her wedding. Oh my god, it was so beautiful. You guys know how to do weddings. Like, to begin with, it was 3 days. That for me was incredible. And the the dresses and everything that they were wearing. Oh my god. I know that I can't remember the name, I'm very sorry, but everyone looked just so beautiful. It's amazing. Yeah, that's what a friend of mine, that my friend who went there, she was saying that there's a lot of broth that has meat in there. And it's like, why? So it's okay. I will find a way. Hopefully, Google Translate will, like, I, you know, where you can like point and it translates on the like in real time. Hopefully, but yeah, it's going to be a good experience because I've been to other countries where they don't speak English. Um, but I've been able to manage because it wasn't for that long, and most, like, the other countries around it spoke English. Japan, I know that is kind of, some people speak, other people don't, depending on where you go. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, of course. I that's the thing. That's what I love about animation, and having been to a school like Animation Mentor, or even working in animation. There's people from all over, and it's so interesting because you learn so much. Like, there was one time where we met with coworkers, and there were like people from Europe, people from China, people from India, and we were learning a lot about each other, and it was like crazy, like in a good way, not crazy like, oh my god, that was crazy, but crazy in like how different our cultures are. Because I'm from Latin America, so for me, I only know like properly my culture. Like, I know European culture because we have a lot from it, but that's it. So Japan, I'm going to go to, from the end to the beginning, Tokyo, Kyoto, and then I think I'm going to go to Osaka. And I'm not sure at the beginning what I'm going to do. I'm kind of still seeing, because like I want to go to the islands where there's all bunnies. It's like my dream. So I want to go to the island where there's like a lot of bunnies. But um why didn't I just scale this? I think scaling would have worked. But I'm not sure because a friend of mine was like, "Oh, if you go to Hiroshima, it's going to be." I'm very sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong for everyone who here is Japanese. Um, I'm kind of pronouncing it mid a mix of Spanish and English accent. Um, I will learn before I go there. Don't worry. Um, but she told me that it's a little bit too intense, so maybe it's like for one day. And I remember going to Berlin and staying there for 9 days, and it messes you up. If you if you're into historical things and cultural things, when you see too many things from war times, it gets to a point where it really messes with you. So I'm not sure how long I would go there because it's very intense. Because she told me that they were very graphic. So I'm like, but yeah, I need to get my Japanese on because I don't remember anything from the time I studied it. I remember very, very little. So yeah, I need to get that on. Ooh, what happened there? Nope. I moved something that should not have moved. Did I move the whole TX? No, because that was working. Oh, no, I moved the wrong thing. Oh, I'm so dumb. This is what happens when your brain starts to shut down. This is what I wanted to scale down. Is the leg moving too far? No. Should I scale this up? Probably. Yeah, I don't know what I did there. But it's okay. Uh, isn't he like a super controversial slash problematic YouTuber? Like, I remember his name not in a good way. I've never seen his videos, so. I do not know Hindi, I'm sorry. I wish I knew all languages. That would be like literally my dream, but I don't know any. I should learn though, because I think my flatmate speaks it, and then I can really like, oh, I understand what you're saying. But I don't, unfortunately. I wish. I wish it's just that with the pandemic, it kind of stopped my plans of learning more languages because there weren't that many group classes. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Okay, let's see where we're at now. Hopefully I didn't mess it up again. I think it's probably still gonna be fast, so I'm just gonna add frames. Frames. Okay, no, that's pretty okay. It's still a little bit fast, so I potentially could slow it down. Just add a few more frames here. And I like using this tool for retiming, but I also like to be a little bit more proper with my retime, so I'm just gonna key everything here. Like, I can scale it, or I can just use this tool, which just makes me happier. And I think I should do everything, because that's going to be more proper. So I'm just gonna key everything here, and then use this. Do you guys know this tool? Also, I'm sorry, I say guys, but I say like everyone because I'm just used to it, but it means like guys, girls, non-binary, everyone. If you don't want me to say that, feel free to let me know and I will try to remember to switch to something else. It's kind of force of habit that I keep saying guys. Even no, in Spanish I don't know what I say. No, we have another word that is kind of neutral. Well, not in Spanish, in my Spanish. But like I have a group chat with two friends who are girls and I'm like, "Hey guys." It's just yeah. It's just weird to say hey girls cuz girls is like I would say it for something like another type of thing. It's like I'd be like, "Girl." I need to tone down that TY. Okay, that's a little bit better. But we can now that we've retimed it, we need to just make sure that this works a little bit nicer. So potentially we just keep going a little bit longer with the TY. Okay. And I wanted to tone down. There's a TY that is really bothering me, and it's this one. It's just going very, very low. Like I can see it come down quite a bit when I play Blast. So let's just. And what's the best way to do this? I'm just going to kind of bring it there and there. So we have a little bit of down, but not that much. Okay. And again, I'm just looking at the hips. I'm not even looking at anything else because weight shifts are mostly about the hips. Okay, let's play Blast. Oh, my body hurts. I'm so old. Okay, let's see. I feel like I'm changing the camera every time. That's pretty okay. The last one can be a little bit faster. Again, I'm not looking at anything except, how do I say it? Like, I'm just looking at this area. Then we can look at the legs and everything, but but did that make sense in terms of what I've been doing? And basically it's just eases in and out and arcs. Um so it's just making sure that you have nice, like, that the hips rotate when they are already shifting the weight to the other side. And it's kind of like the TX and the RX are going to be uh, relatively similar. See how they are doing similar things? Um, kind of almost in unison. Uh, it depends what you do and how you block and what you do. I don't retime with this tool until I am in spline, or actually maybe sometimes in polish. I retime my blocking because I block in stepped as I go. Like I usually do a blocking pass of everything, kind of following my reference, not one to one, but almost like one to one in terms of timing. And then I play blast and then I start playing with my timing. But I don't use this tool. I use just literally shifting frames on the timeline. This tool, I use it for when I'm splining slash polishing. I would say use it if you're very sure that you don't need clean curves. Because basically what's going to happen with this, and let me just say, is let's say I have this here, right? And each one of these keyframes is in one full frame. So like, not this, not here, 13, 10, 20, 25, 30. So everything is on full frames. But if I use this, which is a really cool tool because I can basically have sections. So I can, let's say I want to maintain this exactly as is, but I want this part to be slower and this part to be faster. I just do this. Boop. So good. The problem with this is that once I remove this, it's the same as scaling. This is no longer in a full frame. Now, there are ways to tackle this. You can bake this, you can use animbots baking, you can manually shift it, you can snap, but snapping is not as perfect because, like, if you take a look at, like, pay attention to this area, if I snap, like, keep paying attention to those keyframes, boop, they moved. That's not the curve that I wanted. So I usually use this tool when I'm not looking to be clean. I don't care about being clean. I just care about maintaining my animation. And then once I'm done, like absolutely done, if I want to be clean, I would literally go into animation, key, bake simulation, and then like time slider or whatever. And then you can like uncheck smart bake and then sample by whatever. Sample means like put a keyframe every X amount of frames. So if I put one if I sample by 4, there will be one key, 4 frames later, another key, 4 frames later, another key. If I do smart bake, it kind of bakes where my keys are. I'm not sure if it would bake half frames. Let's just double check. I've never done it. Because I usually don't smart bake if I have like subframes. Yeah, it feels like it's going to go through all of them. Yeah, I keep forgetting to move them to YouTube. If I haven't moved this one to YouTube by Saturday, can you please remind me? Because like, now see, Smart Bake doesn't work. It's better to just do baking every, like, I don't know. If I'm basically if I'm at the end of my polish, I usually bake on ones. And this is because when I was on Spirit, if I didn't bake my animation into ones, there would be other departments doing things with my animation and they would break it. So I would always bake things into one. And that's why all of my animation on Spirit is where it should be. Like there are parts where like some people have teeth missing in their shots or things that are different. Mine are not because I baked everything into once. um no, I don't think I have. I think I know I should do it. I keep forgetting. Let me just double check. It should be pretty okay. Where is my? Oh my god, I can hear myself. Stop it. I just want to go to the video thing. Um. Okay, yeah, I can put the one from last time. Let me just double check if everything works. Yeah, I'll do it after this. Hopefully it will all work. Okay. So yeah, did that make sense? Do you want me to send you like a play blast of this? Should be just the hips because that is like. Nope, that was way too zoomed in. Stop it. I can, but I don't want you to copy. I just want you to, because I didn't do it cleanly. Like if I were to do this from scratch, I wouldn't do it like this. I would do it differently. No, you don't want to look at the curves because this is not how I would animate. Like I was just basically grabbing from your animation and going from there. What I can do, no, I can't. What I can do is actually, I know. Okay. I will do a proper demo on next Thursday, and then you can have that file. And that file is going to be clean. Unlike this one. Because, like, this, no bueno. No, no. This is not how anyone should be animating, like I just did. Oh, it didn't put the. I wanted to show the manipulator so that you can have playlist display. Well, for some reason, cause I know it doesn't. I was like, should it? But I don't have the texture on this one. But hopefully you can see it from the hands where it is rotating. But yeah, let's just play last one more time. And export this. Ta -ta -ta. Okay. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I thought about doing it today, but I would like to kind of find two examples, shoot reference, and then go from there. So then we can see what we need to look for and how different it can be, rather than just animating for the sake of animating. So I know I have one more, but I might need to leave now. If you want to, I can look at it next week. I'm not sure if I'll be able to look at it before, just because I'm a little bit tight with time. But if I can, I will look at it and send you feedback. So I think that was everything I wanted to say. Yes, I think so. Yeah. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that made sense. I will send you this video as soon as I'm done, and I will move all the videos to YouTube so that you guys can have them. At least the last two. I should be doing it more often, but yeah, I'll do it. Oh, cool. Perfect. Go enjoy your lunch. And I'll see you hopefully next week. Bye. See ya.